Hello! Hello everyone! Today I'm going to talk about the advantages, disadvantages, and differences between barefoot running and shoe running. During my childhood, like when I was a child, I had no clue, no idea that it's a possibility to run barefoot. And then when I became adult, I became open to new experiences, and one of them was barefoot running. My main questions. I wanted to examine this issue between the differences between barefoot running and shoe running objectively, to see what's advantages, what is disadvantages, what is the differences. Really, to check after my experience, to check this issue scientifically. My sub questions are talking about the benefits and the challenges of both of the running conditions. And I'll show you the benefits and challenges. They connect in life and they connect in running. Which of the running condition is a high risk for different injuries? And I'll talk about biomechanics, and I will explain what it is and how it is related to this topic. So when you run barefoot, especially in nature, you have to be cautious. Yes, there is sharp stones in the nature, maybe, or even if you run in the street, you have to be careful not to cut your foot, not to bruise it, not to wound it. So you need these cognitive resources in order to cope with the situation. So improvement in working memory when running barefoot is present, as this research shows. But it depends on what kind of type of ground and how much time you run. Also, running barefoot may require lower usage of oxygen and bring a better performance. As this quote shows, challenges and benefits go together. If you want to make a benefit work for you, you have to go through a challenge. So what are the unique challenges of both running conditions? First, as we talked about the benefit before, the benefit, I didn't talk actually about the benefit. It was like, additional attention is also it's a benefit because it makes you much more aware, and this awareness it's a wonderful experience because you can feel your palm of your feet touching the ground. It's kind of a good experience, and it can be a challenge also because you need to take care of yourself, of course. And the second point is that in order to get a better running performance or a running economy, you have to go through a habitualization process. Do it every day for a period of time in order to get utilization of oxygen when running. And this quote is talking about how challenge and pain go together, and pain goes with injury. So it's a solid relation between these questions. And so there are different injuries and different in the different running conditions that are in the higher risk factor. There were some findings about musculoskeletal injuries that were less overall, but similar in the rates in a research that checked this issue of injuries in a long period of time. I think like something like half a year, 6 months. And barefoot runners sustain a higher quantity of injuries that happen in the palm of the foot. Barefoot runners suffer more from calf injuries. Calf, it's what called in Hebrew shrir hatomim, and less from hip injuries in shoe runners. So, what is biomechanics? Biomechanics is a study of biological systems, and it's a study of the behavior of biological system when they meet a force, and how that relate to injuries, because that's what exactly happened in injuries. Part of our biological system is our foot. It touches a force, which is maybe the ground, maybe other person, and then it can injure the foot. So, what are the effects of the different running conditions and running biomechanics? There was a research about strike patterns. Rare foot strike pattern is a pattern where the heel is the first thing that touches the ground when you run. Mid-foot strike is when the mid part of the foot touches the ground first, and forefoot strike where the fingers touch the ground first. So in this research, they took habitually shoes, which mostly have, all of them have a rare foot strike pattern. And they brought them to a simulation of both shoe running and then a novice barefoot running. And some of them adopted new patterns. Some of them maintained the rare foot strike pattern. And all runners had a reduction in the energy absorption, and the midfoot strike and the forefoot strike runners had an increase in the ankle energy absorption. And then there was also a study that checked the running with shoes with different sole inclines to see what the differences, and they didn't find a significant differences between running with the different sole inclines, but one change was a knee abduction at mid stance decreased for ones who didn't have an incline in their sole, was 0 millimeters, and it increased for shoe runners with a positive incline. Knee abduction is like the movement or shift of the knee, but it's not a significant finding as it is written in the abstract of the research. Okay. So what are the effects of okay, we continue with this question actually, yes. And the last point was in a research that checked not only the two running conditions, barefoot and field running, they also investigated how stride lengths influence running in both running conditions. And they found that barefoot triggers a decrease in stride length when running, which is a factor of affecting biomechanics. Yes, and one of the effects was that the GRF, the ground reaction force, it's kind of triggered a little bit,